So my name's Jennifer Goldman. I've never done this silent disco approach, so it's my first time. Silent disco, that's what I heard. It's like the silent disco. You can take them off if you don't want to hear me, and you can put them back in. All right? So here's what we're going to do today. And I'm a little different than I think some of the other sessions, but don't be worried. There'll be no jumping jacks. I sprained my ankle, so we're doing no athletic things today. Okay, don't worry. I'm not putting any of you to the test, but we are going to do 2 interactive parts of today. All right? So for those of you that are sitting really far back, that's perfectly fine. Just let you know I cannot see you. All right, so if you want this cube to ask a question, you're going to have to walk toward me. All right? All right, here's what we're going to cover. We're going to cover deciding your why today. We're going to be determining your what. I'm going to share some true stories with you, and I'm going to try to pick. I have a lot of them, so we're going to pick out a couple to talk about. And I'm going to teach you the how-tos to deciding if you stay or go with the concept of transforming your business. I know a lot of you read the title. This is about transforming a business, not a lifestyle practice, and it's perfectly fine if that's what you want, but I'm here today to teach you about transforming your business. All right? Before I get into my next slide, I've realized this is not for me to market myself, but I want to give you a little bit of my background story just so you know why I'm probably standing up here. So I actually live in Boston now. I started off graduating college early from an upstate New York college, a SUNY school, because I'm very frugal, and went on to become a quality control specialist at M&T Bank. At the time, it was a regional bank. So at the age of 21, I was overseeing 250 people's work, quality of their work for the mortgage division. At age 22, I moved to Boston and became a sales assistant at a small broker-dealer that no longer exists, of course. At age 23, I went in to get multiple job offers from all the major wirehouses and joined Smith Barney for their program of training. At age 26, with $25 million under fee-based management, I moved to Lehman Brothers and I worked with venture and angel investors as their advisor. So story. At age 29, I joined the largest multifamily office in the country. So I did multiple things there, but there's where I got my bug about running businesses. We transformed that business and boosted it to the highest valuation ever in a sellout of a multifamily office. And then from there, I did this stint a couple more times, and then I'd had enough of working with one firm at a time, and I kind of, as I say, go to the dark side. I became a provider or a consultant. And it is the dark side sometimes. I'm going to admit that. So the reality is that for any of you in any role at your firm, it could be insurance, investments, tax, planning, business developer, advisor, owner, I've been and done it all. All right? So probably that's why I'm standing up here. Okay? Okay, so let's talk about you guys now. We've got to discuss the why about transforming, because everything else we're going to do from here, if you don't know your why, it's not going to resonate with you. All right? You'll want to walk out halfway through. There's 2 reasons that I found that business owners want to talk about their why, but more importantly, make a decision. There's the shiny object syndrome, the SOS on that, or there's the cry for help. Help me, I want to grow. Help me, I'm working too many hours. Help me, it's hard managing my staff. Depends what that is. So the one thing I do need to know before we get going further is I want to know how many of you are owners and the rep or advisor. Keep your hands up because it's really hard to see. Okay. Keep your hands up for one more second. How many of you have staff? Okay. Put your hands down. All right. So in your head, who's a shiny object person? Who's early adopter? You are? Admit it. It's okay. Anybody else? I've only got 3, 4. Okay. I think 4 or 5. All right. Shiny object is totally fine, but I'm going to discourage that today, obviously, and you know why. All right? Okay. So what are your goals? I don't know what your goals are, and there's too many of you. This was meant for 50 people. So I'm just going to take a guess based on the firms that I've worked with over the years and talking to the industry. One major goal is the reclaim of time. Now, we heard that before about talk about your physical health and being. I do find most of my owners, it's not just time, it's energy. They are downright exhausted, okay? They want easier growth of the business. I think that's probably a lot of you. For some of you that actually look at your numbers, they want increased profitability. Maybe that's because they want to use the profits to give more to charity. Maybe they want to be compensated more for the hard work that they're doing. Maybe they want to invest in tech or other things where profitability is key for them. And a lot want a legacy business, meaning the business lives beyond you and still provides you an income and a lifestyle. Okay, so legacy may not mean that you're nationally or internationally known, although some of you may be going for that. It's the idea that the business can live beyond you and provide a stream of income. How many of you are building legacy businesses here? Yep. Okay, good, that's a lot of you. Okay, so I don't know the demographic here of your businesses, so I'm going to flip and then come back, which is going to be a little hard on your eyes for a minute, but I have multiple case studies and I want to only focus on one or two. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put up I'm going to call it demographic, the MO of their firm, and I want you to raise your hand if you kind of fall into that camp, okay? First firm case study, 2.1 billion assets under advisement. Money manager. Anybody fit into that? One? Okay, we're going to skip. Family business. Anybody fall into a family business? Okay. We'll skip, but I could share later. That's a big one. Investment management firm of this size. This is a very big one. Nobody's this size, right? Okay. How about this one? 35 under management, 160 plus AUA, lots of clients. Let's stick with this one. Okay. All right. I've worked with a lot of different firms, but let's see if we can get this one close to what you guys have. And the reason I do true stories is I'm not going to give you quotes from famous theologians and Socrates. I'm going to tell you what's really going on inside these firms. All right? Because that's, I think, what you all want to know is how did they do it? How did he do it? How did she do it? All right, so here's the MO. 35 million assets under management, 168 million assets under advisement, meaning you're giving advice, but you don't have an active fee wrapped around that. Lots of clients. Oops, sorry, let me go back. I'm gonna have to look back here. So you have 3 lead advisors, an associate, 2 client servicers, salesperson, op manager, and 2 admin. It's a pretty hefty team, all right? Here's the goals. First, this firm had not documented their goals. I'm sure a lot of you, you're sitting here with your workbooks, you've got them written down. You've got to write them down, and you've got to share them. You've got to write them down, and you have to share them. First time. Their goal, we want a $5,000 revenue minimum for every client coming in the door. We want to reduce the number of clients we have per lead advisor to 100. Okay? We want to eliminate, this one hurts me, $470,000 of marketing expenses a year. That's how much they were spending. And we want to increase client referrals from 0 to 1 a month. Not 10 a month, 1 a month. 1 a month. Okay? And they want to alleviate the workload. It's important to go over these goals. Nothing here should be earth-shattering. I think Eric said it before. We used to write 5, 10, 15-year plans. That's fine for your business. Make your goals realistic. Make them practical. Get a win. Aim for something you can win, okay? All right, this is a ton, so I'm going to let you guys sink into this. Here's what we did with the business, and I'm going to show you today how you can do all of this in less than a year. It's a lot, right? Okay. People first. They hired a business advisor. They offboarded a receptionist. First impressions are everything. That's all I have to say. They hired a firm to hire and train an associate advisor or rep. They hired a marketing firm. Yeah, on top of that $470,000 spent on marketing, they hired a marketing firm. Okay. And they selected an acquirer for most of their clients. This is a big one. They selected an acquirer for most of their clients. Remember that goal of getting down to 100 per lead? All right. Shiny object people, I'm going to talk about tech now. All right. On technology, they implemented the use of InvestNet, and don't worry, I'm not going to talk about just specific tech. Well, I know you guys all have different tech stacks. They used InvestNet with their clients for a portal. They used a form filler software that did batches of forms. They stopped doing manual scheduling and used an appointment scheduling system. They added video conferencing for those clients that did not want to commute into the office or were snowbirds or working, were remote. Okay? They moved to a more professional office space. This is all in 1 year, by the way. Moved to professional Class A office space. They instituted ShareFile, and they instituted using Redtail CRM for reporting of revenue. So they kind of finagled the use of the CRM for this. Again, it's a lot. I'm not trying to put this down, but nothing here is cutting edge, early adoption, earth-shattering. Okay? On the third slice, what did they do to get their head game on? They created a master client segmentation services and revenue plan. They basically said, these are our segments, these are our services for each segment of clients, and this is our bottom line revenue we want to generate from each of those clients. Okay? They created a master marketing plan. Remember the 470 mark? Unbelievable. They used a program, put that place Asana, to put all of their marketing initiatives into kind of like a master calendar with dates, and they looked at it. Let me tell you how unbelievable that moment is. Right? They created a role chart, which we're going to do today, to acknowledge where they had skill gaps, capacity gaps, overload of work. They instituted a weekly business meeting. I can't believe I'm saying this. I've learned that almost every firm doesn't have a weekly strategy business meeting. They have a staff meeting and they go over the to-do list, but they don't have a business strategic meeting. Throw ideas against the wall, see if they drop. Right? And they documented all major processes in their CRM. All major like what do you do with the lead, what do you do with the prospect, what do you do with the new client, different types of clients, how do you service that client, and then back-end system. The last part. The CEO, which you guys are, right? You may not call yourself that, but you are. Got trained on how to use providers and do project management. I'm going to show you a little bit of that today, okay? Trained the ops manager on how to run a productive staff meeting. Staff meetings, oh my God. I hear stories of 2-3 hour staff meetings. I mean, I want to run for the hills. That'd be horrible, right? Created job descriptions. Again, none of this is rocket science. A comp plan and career paths. Everybody wants to know where they can go in the firm. And train the staff on efficient workflows, reporting, report creation, and refinement. Reporting is accountability. It's a soft way of doing accountability. Okay? This is all possible by your firms. Again, it might seem like a lot in a year, but if you want it bad enough, you can get it. The trick is staying sane, staying organized, and staying energized. Right? Right. You guys have any questions on this information overload? No? I could throw the cube. Oh, these ear things are going to kill me. Okay, here's the results. Yeah. Say it again. So I can...
How much is this firm earning in a gross a year?
The question is, how much is the firm earning in a rev run? And let me think. $2.5 million? 2.5 mil.
That's what.
Sorry, I had to flip through the roll. Okay, here's the results. Their current client engagements were expanding. So as they were doing all of this, there's a momentum in the office, right? As you're shedding clients, what are you doing? You're spending more time with the clients you have. So logically, what do? You uncover business. You uncover referrals.
Andrea. Did you
That
say
happened.
Her stuff is not working.
They needed space. They knew they were going to grow. They were positive thinkers. That's important. And they knew they were going to grow. So we cleared out office spaces. Really important because a lot of firms, you guys max out of your office space and then you think you need to move. And my attitude is, let's see if we can shift this around. So instead of buying more space, they cleared it out and were able to attract more advisors. The staff and the culture shifted completely. Most important, if your staff aren't happy, your clients aren't going to be happy because they're interacting with your staff. All right? They reduced the staff cost by $250,000. Now, if you remember, I said they only got rid of one receptionist. That's not a $250,000 salary, right? How did they do that? With the growth, with the momentum, they were able to shift away from salary on some people and shift more to incentive compensation. Okay? Yeah.
The question I have is, when they cut down their client base,
Yes.
they basically went for more profitable clients.
Yes.
How did they respectfully let the other folks know that they weren't going to be able to continue to work with them?
Yes.
And potentially those people that they use.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. So can you guys hear when he asked that? You can't, right? Okay. So what he asked was, how did they thoughtfully let go of their clients, all the ones that they shed? What was the method they did? And also, while letting them go, help that boost the growth of the firm. They reached out to their clients through 3 mechanisms: phone call, email, and a letter, and gave them 3 options. But they started off by explaining, we're excited. We're expanding our services, which they really meant is we're just going to give you a lot more love if you stick around. We're now going to institute a fee minimum. And here's the 3 options. They gave them the local community bank. This is a firm that's regional. They're not community-based, so they cross state line, but they're regional-based. And so they gave them a local bank that had advisors. They gave them a local credit union. Actually, they gave them 4 options. Local credit union, they gave them a retail branch of one of the large custodians. And the 4th option is they gave them something called Facet Wealth, and there'll be others like this, that does a fixed retainer per month, like $100 or $150 a month, to consult and help that client. So they gave them the options, said we're excited. And it was, we'd love for you to stay. We'd love for you to work with us. But if you don't want this type of relationship with us that's comprehensive, and we're going to cover a lot, we understand. We won't take it personally. They kind of flipped the story. Yeah. The 4 options? Okay. Local bank, local credit union, retail branch of a custodian, and a company called Facet Wealth that will, quote, buy your clients. It's basically buying a referral or compensate you for the referral, and in return, they do a fixed low retainer to consult to the clients on all areas. Good? Okay. This is unbelievable, this tech. Okay. That answer the question? Okay. All right, reduce marketing cost. So what do you think they found out when they plastered everything about their marketing in a master calendar? It wasn't impactful, it was too much. It was like overload. And oh, by the way, the staff were miserable from it. Workshops, seminars, little lunch and unbelievable. Podcast, radio, unbelievable. Okay? The lead advisors reclaimed 25% of their day. Now, this is only in the first year. When you make this amount of changes, it's the 2nd year. That's awesome. The first year, you're juggling change and growth at the same time. Not easy. Not easy. Not easy. Okay? So, but 25% of your day, I think that's pretty darn good. I would take it. All right. I'm going to skip over the rest of the case studies because today we're going to work on you guys. Okay. How many of you guys use time blocking systems? Time? Okay, I won't be able to hear it, but can you yell out which one you used, or did you make up your own? Own. Is it color coded on your calendar? Okay, own. Anybody use a system or make up their own? Make up your own? I'm this bad. What? Yes, strategic coach is a big one. So you use the focus buffer? Yep. All right. It's not a lot of you. The time blocking is about controlling your day, right? You guys know. It's about the predictability of your day for your staff. And it's about acknowledging the fact that you're an owner first. This is a tough one. It's the toughest thing in the industry. When I talk to owners, I say, are you ready to be the CEO first and the advisor second? And they might need about 4 or 5 years to ruminate on that, and that's perfectly fine. Go see a coach, go talk it out. I'm good with that, right? It's hard. It's hard. You got a time block, because the fact is the business needs you. The clients need you, but they don't need you all day, every day. Your staff needs you. The initiatives that you're doing need you. Block it out. And share that blocking with everybody else on your team. That means public calendar, okay? And allow, this is a big one, allow your staff, if you have some, to manage you up. If you break your time blocking, allow your staff to tell you you're breaking it. Okay? Businesses, anomalies are really tough, guys. They don't work. You can't kind of break the rules. Okay, the how. Document your processes in your CRM. And don't expect perfection. The reason you document as a team, and we're going to do that today just so you can feel what it's like if you haven't done it, is that when you write and you document, you realize the flaws in your processes. You realize the time wasters. You realize the confusion. Okay? You realize the lack of productivity. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be afraid of it. Just do it. It's Nike. Document your tech and integrations. Map it. I'm going to show you what I mean by that. There's a great study by Stanford, and it's called design thinking. And I've been doing it for years and then realized there's actually a formal process. It's awesome. And it's all about crayons and paper, you might say. Okay? Identify roles. We're going to do an exercise today in that. That's about, again, identifying skills, capacity gaps, and the fact that your name might be in too many boxes. Document all your initiatives. How many of you use a, not Word, not Excel, software program to document all of your major business plan goals? Just you? And you're my early adopter. You are. What software do you use? Google Sheets and Success Planning, did you say? Okay, Google Sheets. Anybody else using the software for business? What are you using? Yell it, yell it. My business coach. And they give you kind of like a tool? Awesome, awesome. Okay. Do you guys share it with your staff? Awesome. Okay, all right. Last is adopt an IDEOS mindset. I will tell you what that is. That's something I came up with. It's actually to help me when I'm working with firms. So I'll share that all with you. Okay, document your processes. This is how I document. I'm visual-based and I'm text-based. Most of us are the same, right? Write out your steps. Let your staff write out your steps. I wasn't joking about the crayons and paper. I've been in offices where they have glass walls and they buy glass markers. Okay? Post-it notes. See that in the back? We're going to do that. Post-it paper works just fine. Whiteboards works just fine. The trick with documenting your processes, do not do it in Excel at your desk. Do it in a group, somebody else is spot checking, and do it where you can walk away and come back to it a week later. You will never get all your steps in a process down at the first run. You have so much up here, it's amazing, right? That's probably why some of our brains hurt. Get it out. Draft the tech and the data flows for each process. Now, this is just a basic example. I am not recommending any one vendor, okay? I have so many renditions of this, I have to pick one. Yeah, you guys are all taking pictures. What you want to do is you want to take each major process. Client onboarding. What tech do I touch, and how does data flow? And then what tech does my client touch? Eric talked about the client experience. That's huge. How are you going to know your client experience unless you draft it out and kind of live it, right? So I'm all about colors and everything else. You could tell I'm a little crazy on that. Draft this out. Again, you guys are owners. I hope for those of you that have staff that you would never think to do this. You would let your staff do it, and then you would come in and review it. Okay? There's another example. This is like new account paperwork. Okay. Identify the roles of your client-facing people. Remember I talked about roles, capacity, skill, all that? We're going to do this exercise today. And the trick is not lying to yourself. Because what will happen is you start putting your name in like half the boxes and you realize, I got a problem. No wonder I'm overloaded. It's the mental exercise of this. And by the way, I want to tell you I was a hypocrite for a long time. I have a business coach, and I refused to write down my business plan because I knew mentally the minute I wrote it down, I was like, oh, this is terrible. Everything you do when you write is actually to bring up some of the issues. Don't worry about it. Don't fear it. It just is what it is, okay? Okay, document all business initiatives. So you talk about Google Sheets and you talk about whatever that success software is. I happen to use Asana. There are lots of other softwares out there, okay? The reason that I use Asana to document business initiatives is because I have noticed that every staff person at every firm can learn it without me training them. It's that easy. And it's a brain dumper. And it's transparent. And every time you add an initiative, you need to add a start and an end date. And if you get a little sophisticated, you can add a field called cost and another field called benefits. Brain dump. I think what happens as owners, we leave a conference, we're all excited, we're like, yeah, I'm going to do these 5 things, and we start doing them. Whoa, 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 whoa. Stop. They're never going to be done right out of the gate if you just rush. So you got to brain dump. This helps owners a lot because you guys have a lot of great ideas. A lot of you are very entrepreneurial, but you got to let things simmer a little bit, and you have to share them with the team. The worst is an owner comes back from a conference. I'm not saying this is you. I'm going to get rid of this thing. Comes back from a conference. I have these great ideas. We're going to do them. Oh my God, this is awesome. Staff are like, are you kidding? Here we go again, right? You're going to start, stop. Or you come back, you're simmering in your office, they realize something's going on, right? And you start doing them, and they're like, what's going on? What? I don't understand. What's going on? You've got to keep them in the know. Keep them in the know, they're going to help you. They might also manage you a little, but take it. Okay, the last is a philosophy I have. When I look at any area of the business, I follow this. You can adopt it or not. It's just an opinion. But I always think about every area of the business and a way to integrate. Maybe it's people integration, but maybe it's technology integration. Data going from one place to another, right? So nobody has to do it. Delegate. How do I delegate this work to somebody else while maintaining quality control? That goes back to my QC days, right? Eliminate. How can I eliminate the work? There's 2 ways to eliminate. Literally, cut it out or automate it, right? Okay. Outsource. I don't know all your restrictions. You guys have a lot of BD things going on, I know. But outsource providers that work hourly, project-based, I'm a big believer in that when you don't need that type of skill set all the time, all year, every year. Money matters, budget matters, profitability matters. I'm frugal, remember that. So, okay, outsource providers. And by the way, I still have to say this, I don't mean people overseas. That's fine if you want to go that route, but there is amazing, qualified experts in this country. Okay? And then staff. They're not last on this, it's just that this is the loop that I go through. As I think about the integrate, the delegate, eliminate, the outsource, what is the impact on my people? Am I going to take them down? Like, am I going to make them feel bad? Am I going to make them feel less valuable? Am I going to have to train somebody to do a different role? Don't forget about that, because that's where the toxicity comes into the office. That's the culture issue. That's when people start jumping to other firms, or unfortunately in our industry, they're leaving our industry. They're leaving, which is why we're having a whole staffing problem now, right? And I go through that loop constantly, all right? Gentleman's question was, can I apply this to like a P&C, property and casualty business, right? Let me ask the question a little differently. Can I apply this to a transaction business that's doesn't require necessarily this ongoing comprehensive relationship? Is that? Oh my gosh, yeah, absolutely. Everything about this, most of the firms I work with have multiple segments and multiple divisions. So they might be doing P&C, they might be doing annuity business, they might be doing AUM, they might be doing financial planning, tax services, 401k. Like this applies all across the board. Because it's a mindset. It's looking at your business from a CEO lens, not from an advisor lens. And saying, as you're going through something, as you're doing something, even if it's working with a client, whether it's P&C or anywhere, am I doing the best I can to integrate and to delegate and to eliminate and to, you know what I mean? Like, am I doing the best? It's just asking the question is half the battle. So yes. Yeah, you're right. I'm not giving that. Okay, where's my cube?
Here you go. Ready?
I can throw.
What about for family-owned businesses?
Multi-family owned or single?
Single.
All right, I just spoke 2 weeks ago to 3 firms like that. This is a little bit, I have to ask the follow-up. Is it a single family office that's growing, like you're going next generation to next generation?
Yes. Single practice with one producer and myself,
Yes.
and building it out.
Okay. So that might mean you'll get more family members. Like, are you working for the Rockefeller family? Not all of this needs to apply, because you don't need that many people. You don't need that many hardcore processes. You're not going to have a huge staff. But if
No, we'd like to have a larger staff.
then all this applies.
Okay.
Without question. Yes. I honestly, this applies to any business when there's more than one person.
More than, okay, that answers my question.
Right? Because you have to communicate. And listen, I'm okay. I'm not saying don't talk to each other in the office, but I am saying when you're talking to each other, sometimes you might be distracting the other person from something, and you might be stunting your growth. And I'm also not all about growth, but I am about sanity, right? The number one complaint from people in the office is this other person keeps interrupting me. I can't get my head space. You know, I can't do technical work. So, yes. Yeah. Okay. Hands-on learning. Let me just see what my... Okay. I'm not going to make you... Well, let's put it this way. Do me a favor. You all have paper? Ooh, my Buffalo accent just came out. You all have paper. I want you to write down why you're here. I promise I will not ask you all to announce it. I want you to write down why you're in this session, what you were hoping to achieve. Okay. As you write down your why, you should be also kind of writing down your what. Like, what do you want to accomplish? Let's use the first column of business development. The decision maker is the one that makes the final decision on who gets to be a client or not. The manager, oh, you do? Or do you have a question? Okay. Yeah, your name might be in all the boxes, by the way. You might. A manager is the person that manages the new business coming in the door. They're not the final decision maker, but they're the manager of it. So it's like the handoff. So yes, you may be handing it off to yourself. Okay? The senior doer, I like to use real technical terms, that's a person kind of doing the work. So when you're developing business, what is it? Maybe it's reaching out to them on email, letters, that sort of thing. That's the senior person. And then obviously the junior is helping. And then there's an outsourced provider. So an outsourcer is an outside firm that might be helping you with business development. Okay? Does that make more sense? And again, your name might be in the entire, all the way down. You've got to write it. You've got to acknowledge that fact. Yeah. New client onboarding is his question. What is that? That's when they've signed an agreement, or for some of you, I think you don't have agreements. You might they're signing an application. Maybe it's a life policy or something. What do you do from that point on? I'll give you some specific examples. New client onboarding might be sending a thank you note to the client or the referral source. New client onboarding might be introducing them to the portal to see their information, if you have a portal. It's all the elements of onboarding them, as well as that kind of first, what is it, the honeymoon phase? The first 90 to 120 days of what you're doing, that's all part of new client onboarding. For some firms, it's the first year. Depends on what the engagement is and the comprehensiveness of it is. Yeah. Does anybody want to be in less boxes? Raise your hand if you do. Okay. Let me pick on somebody new. Would you mind if I asked you what you would like to get rid of? Into the cube?
You mean which role?
Yeah, which role?
Maybe I would like to have less client facing, but
Less
more managing the agency.
Okay. All right. Is everybody here? He wants less client facing, more managing the agency. Does anybody else want that? You guys all want to hang out? You do? Yes. Has anybody achieved that? This isn't about me, guys. Has anybody achieved spending less time being client facing, half and half? You want to explain a few small wins? I can give you ideas, but you give them.
So the onboarding is definitely one that I used to do all of that, and we delegated that away.
How'd you delegate that away?
Just told somebody, I created a process and told them to do it.
Did you sit in with them? Like, did you watch them? Did you coach them?
No, with the different levels of delegation, I ultimately gave her the full responsibility of doing it. So for the beginning, I had her report back to me on how she was going to do it, what she was going to do.
Yep.
Then ultimately, I let her do it, and then come back and show me the results. And now
And then you're fine.
I fully delegate it.
Okay.
And there are other things on the list I delegate.
No, but that's a big one. Let's simmer on that one. Give me the cue for a sec. That's a huge one because I just asked you if you trained and you said no. You coached, you trained, you had a process. That's a lot of prep. It's a lot of time, right? But in the end, how much time do you think he gets back in his day if he's not doing new client onboarding? A lot, right? What you didn't mention too, in all fairness is, and maybe it didn't even dawn on you, you didn't have the fear of delegating that away. Most of my owners have a fear that if they don't onboard a client, they lose touch with clients. They're less valuable because what has this industry done to us? Made us say that you're less valuable as a operator of a business than you are as an advisor. I'm a perfect example of that, right? Perfect example. But here's the catch, and maybe this will help you. I transitioned from being an advisor, business developer. I was doing awesome. I was burning out, but I was doing awesome, okay? I realized that if I became an operator of the business, I could help more clients, more consumers. This is a mental game of shedding clients and work, all right? I need one more person to give me something they want to shed. Somebody here want to shed something they're doing? Raise your hand. You scared? I'm going to do this. Thank you.
No problem.
I'd say some of the marketing,
What kind of marketing? Let's go more specific.
monthly newsletter that we have to make up.
Are you
with our own
writing it?
content.
Are you writing it?
I'm doing my best to outsource it, and sometimes it just comes back, and I don't want it.
Yeah. It's not your voice.
No,
It's
not my
your
voice.
quality. It's yeah.
New website, all the above.
Yeah. No interest.
No
you know
interest.
it's needed, but you don't.
I know it's needed. I know that it has to come by my eyes
Yeah.
to final approval.
Yeah.
I just don't want to deal with it.
Yeah. Don't blame you. It's part of the brain that sometimes just shouldn't be turned on, in my opinion, for me. Anybody else here struggled to outsource marketing, but then landed up doing it successfully? Does anybody use outside marketing, a ghostwriter? Yeah. Ready?
Quarterly newsletter, and I use Emerald Connect, Emerald Publications. They're in San Diego. They do everything, and then I have somebody I outsource. I have a couple of assistants, and I have somebody handwrite all the envelopes to my clients. She sticks a stamp on them. I write a letter, it goes through compliance, which is my touch.
Yeah.
Compliance approves it. I sign it, personally sign it, and then it gets stuffed into the envelope, which has been handwritten with a stamp, but I don't write the newsletter. It's coming from Emerald Publications, and all I do is pay for the actual newsletters. It has my picture on it, and I changed it to it's called the Fabricant Report, which is my last name, and they can customize it to however you want it to be, but it's a ghostwriter and it's pretty timely. Saves a lot of time and it looks good.
Yep. More importantly, did you hear what he just did though? He made it personal. What do you think when the person receives it? I don't know if you've done a focus group. Person receives it, what do you think that they like the most about receiving that? Do you think they like the content that's written or the fact that he hand signed it and it's personally done? Personal, right? Word of advice. What you think is important, your clients may not. Your prospects may not. How many of you have an advisory board that's a mix of clients, business owners, and other professionals? Raise your hands fully up, please. Don't give me a half. Go up. Yep. Do you think it saved you money and time doing things that would have been a waste? Yeah? Yeah. Yep. So I get about the marketing and the quality and the content. I get that. And you're right, you can outsource that till Sunday. There's a million providers that do these. There's great ghostwriters. Oh my gosh. There's too many. That's part of the problem now. There's just too many to choose from. On the flip, find the focus. Okay? All right. Enough of that. Let's go back. All right, so here's number one. I want to give you guys a pat on the back. Nobody wants to stop talking. We're going to just keep going. I love it. Okay. Number one, you're here. Number two, you just carved out approximately 20 minutes to work on the business. And here's my hope. Fingers crossed, I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but I'm going to ask. Okay? I'm going to ask this table over here, the biggest group, so I'm going to ask them if anybody learned anything from collaborating. And I understand this is all a bunch of entrepreneurial executive advisors and that sort of thing, and sometimes your staff don't think like that, but there is a point of the collaboration. So could you flip the cube straight up, I think is what we're supposed to do. So the speaker is up, and anybody in that group, because there's just so many of you, could anybody speak to something they just learned by hearing others? And by the way, if it's I'm doing it awesome and I'm great, go ahead. I'm good. Okay?
Thank you. One of the things that our group learned was that you can sign things digitally. Some people didn't know that. We also talked about iPads and using iPads in sales presentations as well as client presentations, and that you can use an app called Conference Pad so that your iPad is the one controlling all the other iPads in the room. And so from a presentation standpoint, from a sales standpoint, everyone stays on the same page with you. Clients think it's cool and innovative. And what I want to add after seeing one of the presentations is starting to throw some videos in there, because I think it breaks up presentations and makes them more interesting and exciting.
Yeah. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you. Anybody else learn something by working with others and collaborating that they'd be willing to share with their peers? I'm going to pull out of you guys something. Did anybody feel really kind of uncomfortable? Because as they're writing things out, they realize it's just not all put together? Did anybody have that feeling? Yeah. It's okay, right? You're still standing, you're alive, you're fine, it's all good, okay? Here's the thing about standing up, and I swear I did not plan this. I know Eric mentioned about standing up. Standing up gets the blood flowing in a different direction, gets the mind flowing in a different direction, and this is also a little uncomfortable, okay? Some of these groups here I know are struggling with, and I'm so glad that I walked over, they pointed it out. Some of you are captive on what systems you can use, and that feels good and not so good, okay? Yeah, when you talk through a process, there are some things that are out of your control. There are some things that are out of your control, right? I don't mean to be Elsa, but just let it go. You don't have enough time, you don't have the day, just move on. Pick something else in the business that it doesn't feel right, that it feels clunky. okay? Something that might be more in your control, all right? That's all I can say to that because I realize that I've worked with enough firms to know that there's some great ideas you just can't do. You guys mentioned, by instance, the calendar. How many of you guys use a calendar appointment scheduling system? Raise your hand. Okay, all right. Some of you can use it and it integrates with your regular calendar. Some of you can't use that. So just, okay? Or you can use it in different ways but not outwardly, all right? You've got to learn how to let it go. The other thing about this exercise, and this one I did not make you do, I would not. But what you actually just started doing, and I see it, flow charting over here, you guys have like kind of a linear grid. Your guys are all over the place, it's good. When you do process work with design thinking, I follow a very simple mantra. What am I doing first, second, and third? How am I doing it, which is the technology, and who is doing it, which is the role chart. Process, people, tech. Ready? Yep. What am I doing and in what order? How am I doing it? Email, phone, CRM, whatever. How and who. Can you hear me? Okay. The who goes back to the role chart. If your firm's big enough that you have 3 client service people and 2 reps, then when the who is just the rep's name, not the rep's name, just rep. Question? Where's my cube? Question?
Who's got the prize?
I swear I'm going to trip and fall. Thank you. Yay! Ex-athlete. Back there. Oh, did we scare you? Okay. So what, how, who? One. All right. Oh, do we have another one? No? Okay. All right. So that's what I'm going through now. Now that we just talked about process, people, and tech, we got to talk about the business, right? Okay, this goes back to the comment I made about Asana. I can't show you live. I've learned at conferences that you never try to throw anything on the internet because the internet half the time doesn't work right. All right? The concept of this, is anybody here an ex-engineer and has done Gantt charting? You know what I'm talking about though. Okay. So the concept with business initiatives and ideas is as you're doing design thinking and you're doing process work and you're doing the role charting, you're having epiphanies. I need to change something. I need to recalibrate my staff. I need to look for a piece of technology that eliminates something, right? Where does it go? Not into action. Please, dear God. Not into action. It goes up on like a whiteboard. Okay? And when it goes up on the whiteboard, you identify when you would start researching it and possibly implementing it, and when you would want to be done with that project. You also want to identify the cost. There's a section in this system, you could write benefits, any system. You can use Excel, I'm good with that, okay? The benefit, remember, what's the goal of this initiative? Writing things down clarifies if it's worth it or not. And then fourth, this is technical, who's the champion? Who is the person that's going to spearhead this initiative and effort? Okay, right? Business planning. Just taking this up a notch, right? What is the initiative? Benefit, cost, timeline, and who's going to champion it? Okay? All right, so let's review the hows. And by the way, I put them this way. Some of you guys think differently. I'm not here to do a personality assessment. Some of you like to start in the weeds and rise up. Start in the weeds, you want to go on the right column. Document the processes, get right into it, rip it out, look at it, right? For those of you that like are visionaries, I'm sure some of you must be. Visionaries, you want to adopt the mindset, okay? All right, so what do we cover? Your why, what you're going to do, the how-tos, and to celebrate epiphanies. And oh, they took away my minion. There was a big guy celebrating. Most important thing about all this, most important thing, I have seen firms race through staff. I've seen owners burn out and be miserable And guess what? Then that means their clients are miserable. Celebrate every little epiphany. For example, today when you guys were whiteboarding or talking, if you had that moment when something clicked, it could have been two things. One, a deep pit gut, oh my God, this is not, I got to do something about this. Or two, this is awesome, I just learned something new. That's an epiphany. It doesn't have to be implemented to be an epiphany. It just has to be an acknowledgement. You guys are so hard on yourselves, and I appreciate why, I get it, but you've got to celebrate. Happy hours at 3 o'clock on Fridays are totally acceptable, okay? In the office, I guess. I should check with your landlord. I do come from broker days where we always had a bottle of scotch around. So you've got to celebrate with the staff. Send them out for happy hour. Maybe they don't want to see you after something, but they want to go out and hang out, all right? Somebody is a champion on something, say, go to dinner and bring back the receipt and I'll reimburse you. Take your spouse out. I'm telling you, you got to do this. Those firms that are doing that, acknowledging themselves, even in bad moments or good, are the firms that are succeeding. And by the way, they're not telling you, and they're not touting it around. They're not bragging about it, they're just doing it, okay? All right? So with that, that's my epiphany. That's the end. Thank you guys so much. Yay.